Hello, this is Darth Vader Cull here, and today I'm going to do a review on The Last Jedi, but I'm playing FIFA 18 because there's no other game I can play. So there's several points I would like to say about The Last Jedi. The thing is, I think Disney Star Wars is just completely went off track, completely from the original 6 films, and the thing is that, for example, The Last Jedi, some of the characters, like Luke Skywalker is one of my favourite characters in the original trilogy, and all he got turned into was a complete wimp, completely. That's the thing I didn't enjoy, and also that Rey was basically Mary Sue, and how Anakin's lightsaber got destroyed, and Anakin's lightsaber basically, like, it disappeared after Empire Strikes Back and appeared in The Force Awakens randomly. Basically, what like J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson have no idea what they're doing. Yeah, and I'd say that when it came to the ship, all the movie was about was a ship going away from the First Order. That was basically all over again. Imagine A New Hope getting paused in that same position in the beginning of A New Hope, like, forever. That's what I would say. Like that would be a good example. Like the beginning of A New Hope, like when the Star Destroyer chases after the Rebel blockade runner. Imagine watching that for 2 hours. Yeah. But yeah, basically The Last Jedi was an absolute disaster. Rian Johnson has no idea what he's doing, and basically I was watching this Eric Hag gaming thing, and he's got a very good point about how it's just fan fiction and stuff like that, basically. And what really annoyed me is that there was a whole theory about Anakin coming back as a Force ghost, and it never happened. Yoda basically appeared for like 2 seconds, and, you know, for example, in Revenge of the Sith, basically he said the Jedi would only end, like, for the now, like for that moment, because the Sith Lords actually won, like the Sith won, basically. But when it came to the Last Jedi, he just said, "Oh, it just agrees with Luke, everything he says," and the puppet even looks worse. It looks worse than what you see in the last in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, but yeah, it's just pathetic, and the Disney Star Wars, it's just terrible. Rogue One, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good, but it was no way as good as the rest of them. Yeah, I would say The Force Awakens, like beforehand, the difference is when it came to The Force Awakens is, I thought it was pretty rubbish actually when I watched it first time. But when I watched The Last Jedi, I was mucking about with my friend, and I watched the movie. I was that devastated at how bad the movie was, I had to walk outside my friend's car and actually have to get some fresh air because I was that devastated over the movie. Yeah, basically, it was that bad. Yeah, like, people say the prequels were bad, but at least they had a story. And the thing is, I grew up with the prequels. But yeah, I really liked the originals. They were the best. Like, they were the best, like, out of them all. And people say, like, if you look at Darth Vader and you think he's bad with his tantrums, look at Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren has a tantrum by slashing his lightsaber against the wall. You know, it's just pathetic. And at least Luke Skywalker never killed his dad. Kylo Ren did. Kylo Ren killed his own dad. You know, I understand it was Harrison Ford's idea from the start, but, you know, it was a complete disaster. And again, the only thing that was good about The Force Awakens was actually Han Solo and Chewbacca. and when it came to The Last Jedi, there was nothing I really liked. It was a pure disaster, and what I've noticed with several blockbuster things, like for example James Bond. I've got a lot of James Bond. I'm a big fan of him, but I've really been a big fan of Star Wars for the whole life. But in James Bond, the movies, like Never Say Never Again, I'm not going to count them because they weren't made by the same people. But the movies, the Albert R. Broccoli Eon Production movies, basically they've never went downhill. People say Die Another Day went downhill, but yeah, Casino Royale was more like just a continuation again. Yes, it was the first story, but I don't really count it as a reboot. I just count it as the next James Bond. So the thing is that it didn't just go downhill. For an example, you know, everybody still liked their favourite actor and stuff like that, and it never went downhill, you know. But when you go look at James Bond or something, it's you come look at Star Wars, same like Marvel for an example. Marvel probably is never going to go downhill thanks to Stan Lee, probably because Stan Lee's been in charge of Marvel since the 1960s, since the beginning. He wrote several things, and you know, he just made things, like, you know, he just created things and stuff, and he's still in control right now. He's been a producer for several of the movies, and that's the reason why, like, people can have an argument about like Spider-Man 3, but Spider-Man 3 didn't make Spider-Man looking like an idiot. I actually enjoyed that movie, but when it came to The Last Jedi, how they made Luke Skywalker was terrible. Yeah, so basically, yeah, it was just a disaster completely. Yeah, it was cool special effects, but some of the scenes were absolutely pointless. There was no story to it, and I really don't even care about the characters in The Last Jedi at all. Yeah, it was a complete disaster, and yeah, that's what I've got to say about it. But yeah, the only reason why Star Wars is downhill because it's not in the same charge as the one in the beginning. Like, George Lucas was in charge of Star Wars since the beginning. You know, the prequels were bad, maybe, but they didn't screw things up that bad. You know, they didn't. Don't know how to say it. I would say they didn't screw the thing up. They didn't make fans hate it that much. People say the prequels are bad, but the thing is, if you go and look at The Last Jedi, it's terrible. It was a disaster. Like, when I watch the prequels, I don't walk out and storm out like in a bad mood like I did with The Last Jedi. But yeah, I just wanted to do my own version of this, basically, and yeah, so give me a couple of comments if you want to, give it a like if you want to, and subscribe to Darth Vader Call. Thanks for watching, and see you later.